I'll call the November 12th, 2024 public hearing to order. Before I make any comments on the public hearing, I'll just briefly ask you to look to my right down here. We have a couple of green waves that are covered in purple tonight. As we know that they came to Strawberry Stadium Friday night and they left. They blew in and they got blown out, 33-25. So they purpled up for us.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yes. They were really good sports, but I really wanted to bet them that they would wear a purple jersey if we won, and I would wear green, but they started tearing up immediately, so I backed off on that. Okay, we'll get to the public hearing. Ordinance number 2447, ordinance to merge precincts and consolidate precinct polling places in Tangible Parish in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 18532 and 18533. This was introduced on October the 15th. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Ridgell's precincts, it was all dialogue, discussed, everybody agreed to it. We had the folks from TICFA here. So any other questions about that? Okay, if next, the next item is an ordinance amending Tangible Parish Ordinance number 2369, 2024 budget of the Tangible Parish Visitors and Convention and Visitors Bureau. Anyone here to speak on that topic? There being none, we'll go to the next one. 2449, an ordinance adopting the 2025 budget of the Tangible Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau. Anyone here to speak on that item? If not, we will close the public hearing and call the Tangible Parish Council meeting to order for November the 12th. And I'd ask you, if you have a cell phone, to please turn it off or mute it, which I will do myself. And Mr. Joseph will be doing the invocation, and Ms. Hyde will be doing the pledge.
All right, Mr. Chairman. Heads bowed, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many, many blessings we have received. We thank you for our health. Thank you for our strength. We thank you for our peace of mind, our families, and our friends. And Lord, on yesterday, we thank you for allowing all our Americans to support our veterans on that very special day, Veterans Day. We ask that you continue to bless them and their families. We also ask you, Lord, and give you thanks for allowing us to visit with a very super veteran tonight, Doc Holliday and his wife Frances. Continue to bless him, Lord, and doing all the work that will be helpful to our fellow veterans. We ask that you bless our police officers, our military personnel, all those people, our health workers, those people that put themselves in harm's way so that we may enjoy all the freedoms we enjoy today. And we'll be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. And Lord, we ask that once this meeting is over, we go back to our various families and our abodes, that you give us safe travels back to wherever we're going. These blessings are all blessings we ask in your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name. And all the saints within the sound of my voice responded by saying, Amen.
All veterans and military, please render the proper salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Jill, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Sinagra.
Here.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Present.
Mr. Joseph.
Present.
Mr. Havis.
Here.
Mr. Richtel.
Here.
Mr. Mayu.
Here.
Mr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Vial.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Ms. Ciotat.
Here.
All righty, would you, adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting, October 28th?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Joseph, Mr. Wells, second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Public input, anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? There being none, we will move on to the parish president's report. Mr. Miller?
We only have a couple items. One of them is a proclamation about GIS Day, which is November 20th of this year. We did this last year. GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, is in the simplest form, it's mapping of the parish. But in today's world, it's much bigger than that. Collection of, it's a huge database regarding, geospatial information about a spot in the parish, whether it be infrastructure or road work or cross drains. And we have a GIS department inside our parish government. It's in our planning department, headed up by Tracy Shalacy. So Tracy, if you come get this, to say that we are part of GIS Day in Tangible Parish. So thank you very much.
Thank
You want to tell them anything?
Just, I'm not speeching. I just want to thank Mr. Robbie. He's always encouraging us to grow this, our mapping, and we love it. It's fun. And we're encouraging other departments and other agencies to join that effort with us, so.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
The next item, I think most of y'all have seen the emails go around. This goes back to Ida. After Ida, we had what we labeled wire debris, hanging wires along the streets, off of our poles, across driveways, roads, and everywhere else. Our citizens were very frustrated with it. We were very frustrated with it. We even created a shared spreadsheet so that the providers, and predominantly Charter and AT&T, and a few others, Entergy also was in that list, to know where our citizens reported, where our staff reported, where there were issues. Many of those were taken care of, but that spreadsheet, it still has many sites. If you drive around the parish, you still see wire hanging, whether it's low or whether it's actually literally just dangling, cut off at two ends, and you see this straggling wire hanging there. It just looks bad. It's unsafe, I'm sure, in many places. And I've asked Charter and AT&T to be here. Entergy happens to be here too. Most of the Entergy lines are taken care of because they're high, they're up at the top, and they had to be rebuilt just so we have power. You'll see maybe a few feeder lines every now and then, and they need to know about it. The idea that it's this far out from Ida, 3 full years from Ida, I think that it's time for, and AT&T is here to talk about their efforts to help us get it cleaned up. Charter had planned to be here. The gentleman, Brent, that represents Charter, and maybe we can think about them in their prayers. He brought his mother home from the hospital to be in hospice care. So that was a tough situation and timing for him, and we want to make sure we pray for him and his family. But at the same time, our parish has these wire debris all over the place. The other part of that is not just wire debris. We have pole debris now, I'd like to call it, where Entergy put new poles up, and the old pole is still there. Some cases cut off, some cases leaning, some cases broken, with all of the other providers, whoever has it on, and I don't want to get into who goes first and all that. I want them to figure out how to move from the old pole to the new pole. Let's get the old pole out of the way. You'll see it all over the parish. So I'm bringing that up tonight, and with that, I want AT&T, since they're here, Mr. Eric Jones, to be able to talk to you about it, and y'all can ask questions, and then how we as a council and administration move forward to help them understand how important this is and to help them finish the job of cleaning it up. It's got to be a lot of recyclable materials, and if it's not, it's got to be a lot of dangerous and hazardous materials sitting on all these poles, causing much more liability for everyone. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric and let him come up and address us.
Just one comment. Come on up. But I think one of the things is, and we've talked about this, is whose line is it, and how does all that get coordinated? It's theirs, it's mine, but there's a coordination effort here too. I know part of that is us helping them out, but how do they? And I'm just asking, how do they coordinate all that?
And I completely agree with you. I don't think we need to figure that out. They need to figure it out. We've asked them to get it done. They do this all the time, so let's get it done.
Thank you.
Just a name and address for the record, please.
Okay. Yes. Good evening. My name is Eric Jones. I'm the Regional Director of External Affairs with AT&T. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to come and present before you this evening. Thank you, President Miller, for, again, bringing this to our attention yet again. I do agree that President Miller has been raising this issue since a few months after Hurricane Ida. And AT&T has diligently gone out to resolve several of these items. Hearing President Miller, I think it's a threefold issue. And number one, I'll say after Ida, we had storm teams come out. Obviously, we're doing everything that we can to restore services to the community as quickly as we possibly can. Sometimes we bring contractors in, especially to set new poles. After they're gone, the regular technicians are there, and we do our very best to get out to ride the parish. We identify things, we pick them up. As President Miller stated, he provided a list, and I shared that with our construction team, our network team, and our field team to make sure we get those items picked up. I can say I've personally gone out probably on about 20% of them, to go try to verify these items myself, especially wires on the ground. Some did in fact belong to AT&T, but the majority of the wire did not belong to AT&T. And I would ask this, that Chairman Vital mentioned, how do we identify? I'm going to ask for some assistance from the citizens of Tangi Parish, any council members. One of the things that I asked that if we could take a picture, that can help us easily identify who the wire belongs to. You can send it to me, you can send it to Brent, we can send it to Entergy representatives. We communicate amongst ourselves. But what happens is, oftentimes, I'll send an AT&T guy out. AT&T says, oh, well, no, this doesn't belong to us. And then, the message starts to go to another provider at that time. But if we had a picture, we can say, hey, well, identify this as fiber, belongs to AT&T. Copper line belongs to AT&T. Or if I see it's a coax or some dead, electric cable, we can identify the necessary, contacts within those departments to make sure we get them out. President Miller did provide a list and a shared drive. And I will say this, that I have the list, but I'm unable to forward the list on. So manually, I have to go in because we have a firewall and won't allow me to access the shared drive. I do have a manual list. I'll take it down and I'll send it over to our various departments. I'll also say that, within another municipality, they have a 311 system. We work with AT&T, ourselves, the local cable provider, electric provider, to set up a system where residents could, again, upload something, take a picture, upload it to the 311 system, and then all of the utility providers get it, and we can easily identify who the wires belong to. So those just are a few things that we've done. Again, I have diligently, each time I get a request from Rhonda and President Miller, I'll forward that on. I know our construction area manager for the area, Walter Pennebaker, personally spoke to President Miller and committed that we were going to do all we could to get this cleaned up. So that's one issue. Now, I would say this is an ongoing issue because, some of the wires that you see hanging from the pole, we have a theft issue here in Tangi Parish, and we work with the sheriff. Copper cable theft is a huge issue. We have guys that come along, believe it or not, they'll climb right up on the pole with a ladder, cut a huge section of the copper off, and then there you go, it's just hanging down. And that leaves customers out of service. And this happens mostly along rural areas, long stretches of highway, roads. And so we're working with the state police. We're working with our internal asset protection. We've shut down a local, scrap yard here. Make sure they got fined because they were not following the state's process. So that's one of the issues that we've identified as well. And then the third and final issue that I'll say is, continue to communicate with myself. I'm here, send pictures. We did experience for about a 6-week time frame a work stoppage. So our employees are back to work. We're fully staffed, and we're here to serve as needed. So again, I asked just for pictures, and we will get out there as quickly as possible to make sure we get anything picked up that's left there that belongs to AT&T.
If we have a resident out there that has an issue, I can tell you a couple particular ones. I got a guy lives on Highway 40 going towards LaRanja. He's got a barbed wire fence and a ditch. He's always been able to bush hog that. Since the storm, the wire's hanging down in there, and now he can't bush hog it because the wire's hanging down there. I don't know who to call. Who do I need to tell him to call to send that picture to? What is that number? What's
So
that look like?
if you want to send that to me, I asked that, I can't take all requests. So let me just back up. AT&T does have exceptional customer service team. And I can give you the customer service number. It's 1-800-288-2020. So if a customer has an issue, that should be the first place they reach out to. So you can call them, you can reach out to AT&T customer service by phone. If you're an AT&T customer, you can use the My ATT app. Customers use that to pay their bill. They can report any trouble issues through that app, or they can go online and report trouble to att.com. Now, if they've done that and they come to you, Councilman, they say, AT&T just, they won't help me. I am here for you, for each of you. I get, calls from, and emails, text messages from several councilmen. Rhonda at the parish office sends me email, and I always respond. So if you want to send that picture to me, if they say they've tried to report it to AT&T and we are not addressing the issue, report that to me, and I'll make sure we get you an answer.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm fine with that, but I would rather not have to get involved in between your customer and their issue. I don't see no reason for me to have to get involved with that. That should be y'all's business, not ours.
I agree. I'm not customer service either. Again, that's why we have an award-winning J.D. Powers award-winning customer service team waiting to take those calls. So 1-800-288-2020, My ATT app, or att.com. There is one other issue. I did say there was 3. I lost track of them. President Miller mentioned pole transfers, that, Entergy has gone out. We have a damaged pole. Entergy has gone out, transferred their line to the new pole. Then they normally cut it off. Then there's typically 2 cables left. And so there's a process. There's a national process. It's called the National Joint Utility Transfer Process. We call it engines. It's an engine system. So the way the engine system works is whoever the pole owner is, in Tangipahoa Whole Parish, you have 2 pole owners. Either Entergy will be the pole owner or AT&T. About 70% of the poles here in the parish, 75% of the poles belong to Entergy, and about 25 to 30% of these poles belong to AT&T. And so if a damaged pole is identified, and we have regular inspection processes, they'll come and set a new pole. After locates are done, all those things, the new pole will be set. And so once the new pole is set, the way it happens is, whether AT&T is the owner or Entergy is the owner, they go into this engine system and they notify whoever the utility is and let them know it's next to go. So Entergy is at the top of the pole, and they will always be the first to transfer. After Entergy transfers, if there is cable from a charter perspective, because charter is the provider here in the parish, they are next to go. And Entergy should notify charter. And once charter completes the transfer, they will notify AT&T. AT&T is typically the bottom utility, the bottom wire that's on the pole. And so we can't transfer until the cable company transfers, or until the electric company transfers. But if the pole has been sawed off, the electric company has already transferred. So there is a process. Now, I'll go back into the storm. Just like I mentioned that we had some contractors come in, the electric company typically has contractors that come in, and they're moving extremely fast to get the lights back on. They're setting these new poles, and they're not going into the system typically to say, hey, I'm notifying the next utility company to go. Not sure if that is the case in this issue or not, but I would say again, if we have those poles out there, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Send a picture, send an address, and we can determine, the cable company's still on that pole. Let me reach out to Brett. Brett, hey, can you contact your construction guys to go ahead and start the transfer process? Once that transfer process starts, again, they should put this in the engine system. It's a national system to notify AT&T that, hey, AT&T, it's time for you to go. Once AT&T transfers, then we put it in the system and says it's time for the pole to be removed. So that was the third issue that I wanted to address. So if there is a process, if there's a breakdown in the process, we need to find out who's not reporting that, we've completed. And if there's a lot of poles with 2 wires still left on there, again, it could have been during the storm where, outsiders, contractors just came through to quickly restore power and never notified the utilities.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Just sitting here listening to Mr. Jones, correct?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you being here tonight. Just kind of listening to you speak tonight, it sounds like y'all are reacting to either the parish going out and doing a survey or an individual doing a survey. Is there any thought process? I know y'all are just AT&T, but is there any thought process of you and Spectrum doing a survey of the parish rather than just waiting on us as individuals, because that's not going to be a canvas of the whole parish. We'll never get it cleaned up at that rate. So to me, it's like you guys ought to be doing an inventory, you, Spectrum, whoever is involved in this, I don't know all the players, and coming back with a list so we have something to work off of, rather than just waiting on either the constituents, someone in the parish, to bring it to your attention. And that's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Or either the list that we generate as a parish. So I would like for y'all to take that back to the powers that be, and I really think that's the only way this is going to get resolved. It has to be some kind of very systematic approach, because they're here, they're everywhere.
You guys are the subject matter experts, not any of us. Y'all, that's y'all stuff. And the storm was what? 3 years ago? 3 years is a long time.
Oh, I agree. And so to address that, I agree. We do have a system. So we have in Tangipahoa Whole Parish somewhere about 35 technicians that are housed here. And so we do have a process. And so it's called a bad plant condition. It's called, we've got all type of acronyms. And so what happens is, as technicians drive throughout the parish, whether it's Kentwood, Independence, Village of Tangipahoa, there's a couple ways they do this. And so one, if I'm dispatched, let's just say on Maple Street. And so on Maple Street, as they're working Maple Street, they're looking at all the conditions, whether it's the cable, whether it's the pedestals, whatever it may be, they're identifying if there's a bad door on there, they'll put it in as a BPC. If it's a low-hanging cable, we'll put it in as a low-hanging cable. And so, within the next 60 days, I know you say 60 days, wow, that's a long time, okay? But that's just the before red flags pop up. If 60 days is in there and there's a bad plant condition, leadership starts to get all type of notifications that, hey, we have a bad plant condition out there that has not been addressed. So that happens in the normal routine of work. So again, as the technicians go out on a daily basis, as they drive and do all their job, they're trying to identify any areas that can be fixed. So that's one way they do it.
This feels like we need to get out of the box on this one and do something different, which is a survey of the parish. That's just my thoughts, You guys are it's y'all's business to run, but to me, that's the only way you're gonna solve this. I hear you, technician goes out, he covers one street, but, it's been going on a couple, 3 years, and we're never gonna solve this until we get out there systematically, do an inventory of the entire parish, and go out there, and we got a long list, go fix it.
I will make that request. I will
I
take
would
that
appreciate
request
that.
back and say that Tangible Hope Parish leadership is requesting that we do an entire survey of the parish. I will definitely take that request back.
And would you please give us some feedback on what President Miller, I would say, give President Miller the feedback on that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
What
think
was that
Mr.
800 number again?
Mr. Mayhew's got one, I think.
800 number again.
It's 1-800-288-2020,
Got it.
or my ATT app, or att.com.
And I do want to say that, and I should have said this at the beginning, that Eric has been
Yes.
responsive.
Yes.
He's been here, if you remember back at Ida, whenever we were fussing for all of the services to come take care of us, our local representatives do a great job. This event here, this discussion, is really for him to have support up the ladder, so that his support, his management helps him have a better experience here.
Agree 100%.
So this is not to
No.
say that Eric Jones isn't doing what he's supposed to do. I'm trying to get Eric Jones help up the ladder to address the issues that we've been dealing with for 3 years. David, you said it. Eric, you talked about the idea that we have our own public works people driving around. They're supposed to see things whenever we talk about our tractor drivers cutting grass. They see, probably everything in the parish. Why don't they tell us when there's signs that are messed up? Why don't they tell us? So we're fighting the same fight, okay? I get it. But we need some management, and we do it. We push it down to our folks saying, you need to see you see the things we need to address. You don't want it in your neighborhood. We don't want it anywhere. So get the signs fixed, get the grass cut, get the blighted property reported, all those things that we're looking for to improve the parish. We ask our folks to do it. We're just going to ask them to do it too. But it needs to come from upper management down. And that's what we're really trying to do here. So thank y'all all for listening. I appreciate it. Any questions from me? Because I'm finished with Parish President report.
Is Charter and Spectrum,
The same
they're the
group,
same now?
Same company.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Jill, I'll ask you to send that 1-800 number to all the
Thank
council.
y'all.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Jones, you have a good evening. We'll go into regular business. And with the first item under regular business, Errol L. Doc Holliday Sr., 2024 Onyx Magazine Men of Honor recipient, Ms. Ciatat. I think I'm going to hand that one off to you.
Yes, in just a second, I'd like to go to the podium, but before I do that, I just wanted to tell everyone very quickly, I felt that with yesterday being Veterans Day, and I want to say a special thank you to all of our veterans, that this proclamation was absolutely fitting. So I met Doc, goes by Doc, Doc Holliday last summer, and I had a wonderful conversation with him and his wife in their front yard for probably close to an hour in the heat of the summer day. But when I met this gentleman, I was so impressed, not just because he's a veteran and all of the experiences that he's had, but just speaking with him about his ideas and things that he's accomplished. I made a promise that if I was elected, I was going to somehow find a way to recognize this man. And in just a moment, I would like to read a proclamation. But before I do that, I would like to invite the Ponchatoula Mayor, Wesley Daniels, to the podium to just say a few words because Doc is from Ponchatoula. And so, Wesley, if you could come up.
Thank you, Ms. Ciotat. Wesley Daniels, Mayor, Punch Tool, 131 North 7th Street. I'm here to show my support for someone who is very deserving. Not only is he a resident of Punch Tool, but he is someone that I would consider a friend. I like Strader. Met Doc in his front yard. It was probably closer to the fall. I had been told many times that I needed to meet him. I kept missing him. Doc's a busy guy. He stays on the go. But when I finally did catch up to him, it was well worth it, and we have continued to meet since then. I'm sure Ms. Ciotat is going to read to you a list of very impressive accomplishments that Doc can call his own. But what I want you to know that the man that achieved these accomplishments is equally as impressive. We're proud that he calls Punch Tool home, and I'm proud to call him a friend.
Thank you. Let me go around this little deflated balloon real quick.
Although you do match.
No, I'm actually wearing royal blue, thank you. Doc, if you could come up to the podium, please. I would like to read a proclamation to everyone tonight about this young man. And he brought some goodies, so we have a celebrity here tonight. I have a magazine. And so I'm going to read this proclamation, and I want everyone to know this is only a fraction of the accomplishments of this gentleman here. So if you could please face the council, face whatever you're more comfortable with. Your beautiful wife is up here as well, Miss Janice. But I would like to read this proclamation. Whereas on September 28th, 2024, Errol Doc Holliday Sr., NASA Hubble Space Telescope engineer, was honored as the 2024 Onyx Magazine Man of the Year. Onyx Magazine recognizes the most impactful and influential black men in Florida and beyond. And whereas Errol Doc Holliday Sr., a resident of Ponchatoula, Louisiana, was born in the 1940s, joined the U.S. Navy after high school in 1958, and served for nearly 20 years. During his stint, the Navy paid his way through college, where in 1972, he earned a 2-year associate degree in arts and science for De Anza College. And whereas in the Navy aviation program, Holliday worked as a hydraulic construction mechanic on aircrafts and flew as a crew member on missions in South China Sea, Thailand, Philippines, Korea, the Alaskan Aleutian Islands, and Vietnam during the war. He reached the rank of E6, Chief Petty Officer. And whereas after Holliday retired from the Navy in 1977, he went on to form the company Diversified Packaging and Crating, and in 1979 was hired by Lockheed Missiles and Space. And whereas in 1983, Holliday worked as a development mechanic and journeyman in the Aerospace Worker Union and was assigned to a 25-member team to build the Hubble Space Telescope structure. As the lead development mechanic, he was in charge with the placement of the target, which entailed bringing the structure to life. And whereas on April 24th, 1990, the 13-ton Hubble was launched into space aboard Space Shuttle Discovery. Scientists were now able to peer 1.6 million miles into outer space, or more, that 13 billion light years from Earth. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Tangipahoa Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby express sincere gratitude with respect for and in recognition of the accomplishments and impact by Errol Doc Holliday.
Fantastic.
And you can just take a quick look. And let's just say a couple words.
This lady here is my life. She brought me to Christ. He saved my life in 1969 in Cameron Bay, Vietnam. I have a special song I always sing whenever I speak about the Lord saving my life. I have a special magazine for you, Mr. Joseph, as well. And if you'll give me an opportunity to do this, I would like to sing that to you this evening.
Doc, can you pull that mic closer to you? Just the whole thing will move. There you go. Thank you, sir.
I used to stand underneath the streetlights in Detroit, Michigan, before the movie theaters started having talent contests, before Smokey Robinson was found, before the different kinds of individuals like Little Stevie Wonder. We used to go through his backyard on the way to the swimming pool in Detroit. But this is for you, and honoring me, it gives me and it humbles me so much to be here with not only my mayor, but also my fire chief. His father and I used to fly P-5M seaplanes off the water in San Francisco, California, Alameda Naval Air Station. So he's very special to me as well, Mr. Stormy Joyner. There is nothing too hard for the Lord. There is nothing too hard for the Lord. He will do what you need him to. There is nothing too hard for the Lord. There is nothing, no, nothing too hard for the Lord. There is nothing too hard for the Lord. He will do what you need him to. There is nothing too hard for the Lord. Oh, if you need him, trust him and obey. Place your cares on him, and I know he will make a way. Yeah, he will do what you need him to. There is nothing too hard. There is nothing too hard. There is nothing too hard for the Lord.
Okay, I can't top that. So, like I said earlier, Doc, he has some of these magazines for us, but I would love for us to take a quick picture. And once again, thank you, sir, for your service to this country. Thank you. Okay.
Picture.
Yes, please. Get this proclamation. And this is a little goodie bag. Well, come on.
Stormy.
Never know. Hubble space, amazing. Good one. Thank you, sir. You have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I don't know how we move to the next item. I'm not sure about that, but we have to. That was a good one.
It might be all downhill from here,
Yeah.
you know, because that was pretty
That was
spectacular.
probably the best one of the year.
Yeah.
All right, the next presentation is an update on Tangi housing market. It's going to be given by Mr. Joe Meir, and this was given to the Economic Development Foundation Board. Thought it would be a good idea to share this with the council and basically sharing it with the parish. So, Joe, we're going to turn that over to you. If there's anything you'd like to say ahead, go for it, brother.
Thank you, David. I promise you, I definitely can't follow Doc there. What a great presentation, and thank you so much, Mr. Holliday, for your service and all that you do. Good evening, folks. My name is Joe Meir. I'm a real estate appraiser here in Tangible Parish. Glad to call Tangible Parish my home. We opened our office here 25 years ago. I've been doing this for 30 years, but happy to call Tangible Parish home. And I just got a quick presentation for you this evening to give you a little update on the housing market, what's been happening in the housing market, and kind of maybe a little bit of a forecast for 2025. We really are sitting in a good spot in Tangible Parish, but let's take a quick look at the national market so we can kind of see where we're headed now. Where are people moving around right now? In 2023, unfortunately, Louisiana had a little bit of a downturn in population, but Tangible Parish had a little bit of an upturn in population. So even from the national level, we're still seeing an increase in population here in Tangible Parish. We're estimated at about 139,000 people in 2024. We're the 10th largest parish in the state and growing. So it's really been incredible to see what's been happening. almost 15% increase since 2010. That's incredible, really. Any parish would love to see that kind of growth. If you take a look at the graphic here, 83.5% of the pending sales are in southeast United States. People are still moving to the southeast of the United States, and Tangible Parish is no different. We're still seeing that happening. But one of the things that we're looking at right now is interest rates. Everybody keeps talking about interest rates. Is interest rates pushing people out of the market? Well, that's not what we're seeing. Now, compared to interest rates in 1981, interest rates was 18.4%, right? So now we're looking at present interest rates. A year ago, we were at 7.8%, and now we're at about 6.9%. This was as of November the 7th. So interest rates have come down. They came down to about 5% on a 15-year mortgage and about 6% in September, but they have been creeping back up, and we're just going to have to wait and see. But that's not what we're seeing. If you look at the mortgage of the difference in the mortgage payments from year to year, a year earlier, a mortgage payment in St. Tammany Parish was $1,740, $1,760 now. Not a big difference. Tangipahoa Parish was $1,280 a year ago, and now it's about $1,270 as a mortgage payment. So we've been staying pretty flat on the mortgage payments, right? So again, that's not showing us what's happening in reference to housing crisis. Insurance. Insurance has been a big factor in housing right now. The cost of insurance has drastically went up. In 2019, people were paying an average of about $1,600 a year. Now we're at $2,500 a year. And I can tell you, in the last 24 months, it's probably doubled that, right? We're now probably at $4,000 an average homeowner's policy, not flood, just your homeowner's policy. So insurance is really a crisis in the housing market. Also, What happens when people can't buy? They start heading to the rental market, right? Well, let's look at the rental market, what's been happening, the tangible rent costs. This is a ranking of tangible parish based on zip code. Ponchatoula is the highest rental market in the parish right now, averaging about $1,800 a month. I'm sorry, averaging $1,400 a month for 2 bedrooms. Yeah, $1,800 a month for a 3-bedroom. Hammond's coming in right below that at $1,500 a month for a 3-bedroom. So rent costs are just as much as a mortgage payment at this point. So people are really struggling to find, first of all, the inventory, and then if they do find something between insurance and stuff, they're getting pushed into the rental market, which is still very costly, right? There we go. Parish-wide, 2 bedrooms are averaging $75 to $1,400 a month, 3 bedrooms $1,350 to $1,800 a month, and 4 bedrooms $1,800 to $2,400 a month. The highest peak rent I've seen on a single-family dwelling is $3,500 a month, which is a big house on a little bit of acreage. So rental markets is having an impact. Almost 32% increase in rental costs since 2016, right? That's incredible. Now, if you also think about, we have a heavy population of students in our area that absorb a lot of our rental market, right? So 32% increase in that shorter period of time is a pretty big impact. But the property owners have to raise the rent. Insurance is going up, taxes have went up a little bit. They can't just absorb that, so they have to raise the rents, right? Our vacancy rates are still at less than 5%, but we are seeing that the rental market is beginning to level out. So it looks like, you know, the impact of rent prices have peaked. The pocketbook can't pay no more, right? So we are seeing since April of 2023 that it's beginning to level out now, the rental market is. Here again, vacancy rates is, you know, between 5 and 7% nationally. I would say in Tangipahoa Parish, our vacancy rates are 5% or less. They just don't have a lot of vacancy. And 2 to 3% of that is just people moving in and out of different properties, right? This is a good stat that I wanted to share with you guys. Home ownership in Tangipahoa Parish. We're at 73% home ownership. That's a great percentage of home ownership, of people that have home ownership. Homeowners with a mortgage is 68%. So we've got a lot of people, over 30% of the people in the parish own their homes outright, which is really good. A lot of equity in our parish. Also, when you look at income levels, our income levels have been increasing in Tangipahoa Parish, but the cost of everything has just absorbed that income increase. Gas, insurance, energy bills, home groceries, all that stuff has really absorbed that expendable income, and so they really are beginning to see if we're going to be able to keep up with that. Tangipahoa Parish, as you can see from this graph here, our income levels have been steadily increasing. We're at about $55,000 on a median income level, but even better than that, we're seeing almost 12% of our residents are in the $75,000 to $100,000 income level. So that's a very good indicator that our job market is supporting our residents. We've got good jobs in our parish, but we're still having some issues with poverty, obviously. And I've got a graph on that just in a second here. But the mortgage payments have really peaked out. People have really tapped out. So buy-in right now, if it's not in that sweet spot of a median income level, those houses are sitting a little longer, but those houses that are still sitting in that median income level is really moving pretty quickly. Children in poverty, I thought this was a good graph also. 6.4% downward trend of children in poverty in Tangipahoa Parish. That's a good trend. That's the trend we need to keep working on. We still have a lot of poverty in our parish. We got about a 24% poverty rate in our parish, but 6.4% in childhood poverty, poverty, downward trend, that's what we want to see, right? Affordability. For every $1,000 that a house goes up in price nationally, 106,000 people are out of the market to buy a home. So every $1,000 that's added to the cost of a house from regulation, building costs, whatever it is, pulls people right out of the market. So you guys have a big influence on that. Just keep that in mind as y'all are adding any type of regulation to the market. So let's drill down to a little bit of housing data in Tangipahoa Hill Parish. How many houses do you think we have for sale on the entire North Shore? Tangipahoa Hill Parish, Washington Parish, and St. Tammany Parish. Any guess? No? How many? 1,200? 1853. Now, if you think about that, for the whole three-parish area, that's not a whole lot of houses for sale. This was as of November the 11th. In Tangipahoa Hill Parish, we had 405 houses for sale. And 139,000 population, we've got 400 properties for sale in the MLS. That's not counting for sale by owners or builder spec houses, right? That's not a lot of inventory, right? When we look at closed sales versus active listings in Tangipahoa Hill Parish, we're averaging about 475 listings. Pre-COVID, we were averaging 800 listings in our market. And we're only averaging about 108 closed sales per month in Tangipahoa Hill Parish. If you think about that number, that's not a whole lot by the time you divide that to our service providers, right? Days on market, we're still we're about 60 days for a typical home in Tangipahoa Hill Parish. Obviously, when we get into the higher pricing brackets, those days on market extend longer because the buyer's pool shrinks up as those prices go up. But the median sales prices are still at about 60 days or less, which is still a decent market. If you look at this chart, the orange line at the bottom is closed sales. 2019, we're kind of trending back to what we would call a normal market. 2020 through 2023 was not a normal market. The numbers were selling at a higher rate, but you can also look at the number of active listings. In 2019, we were at 800 at the peak. At the lowest point, we had 73 properties for sale. At the lowest number of sales per month was 73. So we're definitely seeing that trend of active listings coming back into the market, but we're still struggling with inventory. The number of building permits, this is just from the parish building permits. This is not counting Ponchatoula municipality or Hammonds or any of the municipalities. This is just parish numbers. As you can see, we're seeing we're seeing a trend downward in the number of permits from 2020's peak at 897. We're forecasting it's going to be about 550 to 575 this year. As of May, it was 254 permits pulled. So we're forecasting about 550 to 575 this year. Which is, getting 500 new houses a year in any parish, they'd be happy to see that. In a parish of 130,000 people, they'd be happy to see that. Excuse me. This is average prices for the North Shore, this graph, showing $345 right now for the entire North Shore. But let's take a quick look at Tangipahoa Hill Parish. Tangipahoa Hill Parish, first St. Tammany Parish. Over the last 10 years, St. Tammany Parish has went from 194 to 299,000. It's a 54% increase, right? Tangipahoa Hill Parish has been tracking right along with St. Tammany Parish. The big leader in appreciation in value is Washington Parish. Washington Parish has increased 171%. But again, you got to think about how many properties have sold in Washington Parish, so that stat's going to drastically run higher, quicker, right? But Tangipahoa Hill Parish, we have seen a 62.84% increase in median income value, income properties, median sales of properties in the last 10 years. Now think about that, almost 63% increase. We were at 154,000 in 2014. The median sale price of a house in Tangipahoa Parish now is $250, almost $251. So that's a healthy housing market. It's showing that people are willing to pay to live here, but we still have, inventory issues. All right. I wanted to kind of point this out to you guys. In the second quarter of 2023, we had the orange column is your average sales price. The blue column is your average list price. The biggest spread between original list price to sales price was in the second quarter of 2023. But if you look at the latest stats in the third quarter of 2023, first quarter of 2024, those numbers are getting much closer now. Those list price, people are paying very close to the list price, which is showing the inventory is getting tighter, so they're willing to pay closer to that original asking price, right? So as that inventory loosens up a little bit, we're going to see a difference in that happening, that number getting tighter. Sales trends in volume, we peaked at 401 million in 2021. Right now, we're at about 268 million. We're thinking we're going to peak this year at about 290 million at the end of the year this year. Presently, we had $268 million in sales inventory, total sales of houses in our parish. That's a good, healthy number. If you follow that line across to pre-COVID numbers, we're at 268 now. In 2018, we're at 280. That would be a good, if we had a normal market that was happening between those years, we'd be tracking right where we needed to track on a good, healthy housing market. All right, come on, what you doing? All right, for buyers, we want to monitor the rates, consider timing when you're looking to get into the market. Every June and July, our market peaks. Historically, every June and July, the market peaks, and we begin to see a little bit of a decline in sales volume and sales pricing. So maybe this is the time, if you're a buyer, you should be looking at the market now. You need to be looking at different locations because different parts of the parish is in higher demand. If your budget can't fit in those areas, just start looking at some different locations. On the seller's market, you have to be market ready. You have to be willing to negotiate some. Pricing strategy is the best part. Listen to your professionals on pricing, and then be flexible in your negotiations. If you get an offer that's low, just don't disregard that offer. Negotiate that offer. Sometimes people will get an offer and they're like, oh, that's too low. I don't even want to respond to it. I advise you don't do that. Respond back. Even if it's the full list price that you're responding back, respond back into that market, into that offer. Some councilman key takeaways. Our median income at $55,000. It's lagging from our neighboring parishes, and it's not keeping up with the rising cost of housing, right? Our inventory levels, we have limited inventory. 405 houses is not enough properties in our market. We still have strong demand. I think a lot of things with just the economy overall, people have been kind of waiting to see, what's happening, and I think we'll see some loosening of that as the rest of the year and in 2025 continues. We really need to take a look at reducing the half-acre lot requirements on new developments. We've got about 2,000 lots in inventory, but as those lots wind down, we need developers to be looking at how they're going to be able to develop so they have that ahead of time as they get into development time. We have opportunities. We got strong population growth, stable price appreciation, and potential interest rate stabilization. So we've got some positives and some opportunities that we're looking at that we can have some additional growth. Our challenges is the insurance costs. I know our council don't have a lot of control over that, but we just need more insurance companies to come back into our state so we can get a better insurance opportunity and continue to work on our jobs in our market to be able to offer good quality jobs. So I think 2025 is going to be a more of a stabilization year with some growth, but I think until we see income levels really beginning to get up more, I think our pricing is pretty competitive. So I think that's about it. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer any of your questions. Yes, sir.
Turn your mic on.
Mike, Mr. Joseph.
I read that a lot of people are leaving this state, because they can't afford the insurance. And then I turn around and read again, a lot of insurance companies leave the state because they can't make money. I can't get that.
Yeah, the data that I've read is about 1.4% downward population increase, which It's not a tremendous amount, but we're the only state in the southeast region that had a decline in interest rates.
Okay.
In population.
Population, yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons. Insurance is a big factor in it, but let me tell you, all of our southeast states are struggling with insurance. Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, we're all struggling with insurance issues.
I'm sure with all the wildfires in California, they're struggling 10 times. as
Yes,
much.
sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else?
Anyone else? Mr. Rizzo?
Did I hear you say we had 2,000 lots available? I figured it'd be more than that.
The last number I've heard is around 2,000, is that right?
2,000, that's in subdivisions with undeveloped lots?
That's, yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay.
That's approved lots. Lots that's been approved by you guys already.
Very interesting.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Joe, thanks a lot. Appreciate the info.
Very interesting.
You know, it's, I've seen it before, you know, at the TEDF meetings, but it's really good info. Glad you came tonight and appreciate what you do.
My pleasure, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Very good.
You have a good evening. Okay, we will get into the adoption of ordinances. Tangible Ordinance Number 2447, in order to merge precincts and consolidate precinct polling places in Tangible Parish in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 18532 and 18533.
I so move.
I think Mr. Ridgel, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Wells is a second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Item number 6, ordinance number 2448, an ordinance amending TP Ordinance 2369, 2024 budget of the Tangible Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Mr. Wells, is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Joseph. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Passes 10-0. Next item is adoption of ordinance 2449, an ordinance adopting the 2025 budget of the Tangible Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Wells. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Mayhew. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Now we get into an introduction of ordinances, and a public hearing on these will be held Monday, December the 9th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. Item 8, adoption of ordinance 2450, an ordinance to grant a variance to section 3691, major subdivision standards, road frontage, depth, minimum acres for Cobins Cove subdivision, assessment number 6171184. This is in District 4, and this item, the Planning Commission voted to approve this variance as this was originally approved on 10/4/2022 prior to the codification adopted on April 24, 2023. Mr. Havis, this is your district.
Before I make the motion, Mr. Vial, so what this variance is, this subdivision was approved under the old ordinance before the half-acre lots and all that good stuff. The developer hired a new engineer, and this new engineer came up with a better way for drainage in that area. This is going to improve the drainage for the existing neighbors to the east and to the south of this location. And Tracy and I has vetted this, Planning Commission as well, and this is just going to help that area. So I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Havis, is there a second?
Yeah.
Second
Joe,
was-
where's this, Joe?
Mr. Ingraffia, I think? Or
Yeah.
Mr. Sinagra, okay.
So the entrance will be on Milton Road, off of the Talbany Road. Milton goes from the Talbany Road to Ward Line.
Okay.
And the entrance
I
will
got
be
it
on
all the way
that
down.
road.
Yeah, okay.
This will add to your housing market.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's good.
Okay,
buddy.
any other questions? All right,
good.
roll call, please.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Number 9 is adoption of ordinance 2451, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 42, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage, Section 42-15, no truck zones or no engine brake. And this was recommended by the DRC, and Mr. Havis, you also took the lead on this one.
Yeah, so the particular area, and folks is complaining about engine brakes with 18-wheelers, and I think this would be a good thing to put in place to help those residents, and I'll make that motion.
Okay, with this motion would just allow us to designate certain areas as no brake signs, okay? This is the upfront motion, upfront ordinance.
Yeah, this will be in the ordinance, and you can kind of pick and choose where you
Yeah,
want
the
to.
particular one he's talking about, that we're putting one up, will be the next one, okay? So is there a motion? I heard Mr. Havis, is there a second?
Yes, I second.
Second by Mr. Joseph, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Okay, passes 10-0. Now, item 10 is to put an ordinance to put a specific sign on West Fontana Road in District 4, the no engine brake sign. So that is specific to that one, okay? Mr. Havis?
That's
you had
right.
that one on.
Thank you for clearing that up for me, Mr. Vial. I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Havis, is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Second by Ingraffia, call roll, please.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
1 second. Joe, is this by the rec center?
It's gonna be by the ballpark, yeah.
By
Fontana,
ballpark?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Passes 10-0. Let's see here. 11, right? Yep. Okay. All right, item 12, which is a board of... We're on 11, I'm sorry. I lost track a minute. Okay. Item 11 is adoption of TP ordinance number 2453, and an ordinance adopting a 2025 operating budget of the Tangipahoa Parish Library Board of Control.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Wells, is there a second?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph, would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes. And while we're on that one, the ribbon cutting for the Laranja Library has been postponed because of rain, and that was sent to the council, but just making that announcement. Okay, board appointment, Tangipahoa Water District, approved new appointment, Tommy Lambertino, to fill unexpired term, expiring March 2025. District 6, Mr. Mayhew.
I'm appointing him. He's getting appointed on, due to untimely death of Mr. Gary Bankston.
Okay.
And, he'll make a good board member. He's seasoned. He was on the board a while back. So
Oh,
I
good.
definitely make that motion.
Good.
I'll second.
Okay, first by Mr. Mayhew, second by Mr. Rizzo. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Passes 10-0. Now we'll go to an addendum to adopt a resolution. And basically, this addendum is just advertising the comprehensive plan that we're working on. This will be the first community meeting, which will be December the 11th, 2024. So this will just codify that. We were asked to do this by the folks that are doing the comprehensive plan. So adoption of Resolution 2436, a resolution supporting implementation of 2045 Tangipahoa Parish Comp Plan adopted on November 7th, 2023, raising awareness of outreach and engagement efforts underway for related land use implementation efforts in progress, for which a community engagement event is scheduled for December the 11th, 2024, 6 p.m., Tangipahoa Parish Planning Department Conference Room. So this is advertising that, which is a really important part of the plan, of getting a lot of community input on how we're going to develop it. So is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Joseph. Is there a second?
Second.
Second was Mr. Ingraffia, I think. Sinagra. Okay, I'm gonna get that right one time. Okay, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Okay, Beer, wine, and liquor, anything?
None.
And that being none, any legal matters? The attorney had to leave, because of a Tuesday meeting, he had to be at the school board, so we discussed it before the meeting, there was nothing that he was needed here for. Councilman privileges, anyone?
One quick one, David.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, we're gonna culminate the veterans activities for this month. We're having a veterans program at LSU Lolly Kemp Medical Center at 10:30 in the morning. It was initially scheduled to be outside, but I think the weather's gonna be inclement, so we're gonna move it inside. 10:30 hours. Please come if you are available.
Very good.
And
Anyone
you're more
else?
than welcome, Doc. Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have one, Mr. David.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This morning, Tangi Chamber had a breakfast this morning, and President Miller was the speaker. And he spoke for about an hour and a half, and all he had to say was good things about the parish, the employees, the administration, and the council. But nobody said anything about him.
Yeah.
Well, I've been on here 5 years. I just want you to know, anytime I call President Miller, email, text, he always called me back. So in 11 years you've been here, I just want to thank you for doing a good job.
Good job, Robbie. Thank you. That's good, Doc. Nice of you to do that.
John, you're still not getting any extra road over there.
2 more miles of road.
Anyone
man.
else?
I gotta pay you now.
We have a short fire board meeting.
Fire board meeting, about 5 minutes. Anyone else? I have a few items. I want to thank everyone, for passing our 1 cent sales tax renewal for the next 4 years. Robbie talked about that a lot this morning. And so that's a good thing. I think there's money spent very wisely. And I think doing this every 4 years really kind of keeps us in check, and we do that. I just mentioned the Desire Line meeting on December the 11th at the Clausen Building. And I got a little note here because if anyone tried to register, there's a link you can register on. If anyone tried to register with the link on the resolution prior to tonight's meeting, you were asked to sign in. This has been corrected. You can now register without signing in once we have passed this resolution, okay? By registering a submitted comment via the link, you're not required to attend the meeting. The other thing is the December 23rd meeting of the Parish Council, which was originally scheduled for 5:30 p.m., will be moved to 5 o'clock because we will be having that meeting on the 23rd. And then the only other thing is, I hate to bring it up again, but you know, these green waves rolled into Strawberry Stadium Friday night. You know, they ran into a tornado and they got sent packing 33 to 25. And before the meeting, our tornadoes, myself, Mr. Mayu, and Mr. Wells presented some trinkets to our lady friends from Ponchatoula. And we gave them a purple balloon, as you can see. And I will admit, they left it up there. I didn't know if they were going to do that. We gave them a little apparatus, which is called a sucker punch, because the green wave got sucker punched. And we also gave them some purple glow bracelets so that they can walk around Ponchatoula with their purple glow bracelets on. And what? And one other thing here.
Attention, a tornado has touched down.
Mr. Vial, it's been fun. You've earned bragging rights for a year.
Okay, anyone else, councilman privileges? We will send it to y'all personally. Okay, any motion to adjourn? No objections, meeting adjourned. Thank you.